All right, let's talk about AI. How do we make sure we're still thinking for ourselves, staying sharp and thoughtful in this new world? It's a huge question, maybe the question. And that's what we're diving into today, your guide to what we're calling digital wisdom. Okay, so let's just get right to the heart of it. Is AI going to be our thinking partner? Something that helps us level up our own intelligence? Or is it just a substitute, something that does the thinking for us? How we answer that question, well, that's pretty much going to define our future with this tech. And to even begin to answer that whole partner versus substitute thing, we've got to take a step back and look at something even bigger. The very definition of knowledge itself is, well, it's completely changing right now as we speak. I mean, think about this quote. It totally nails the shift we're in. It's not about what you can cram into your brain anymore, right? An AI can store way, way more than any of us. Today, knowledge is all about how good you are at judging information, working with others, and doing the right thing. It's all about how you engage. So this new way of engaging, it really boils down to two key ideas that we all need to get familiar with: digital curation and digital citizenship. Okay, first up, digital curation. You can honestly think of this as your personal superpower. This isn't just, saving a bunch of links. No way. It's an active job. You're sifting through all the junk online, really thinking about what's credible, and then putting the pieces together to create something new. This is the move from just consuming information to actually creating knowledge. But look, having your own superpower is great, but it's not the whole story. And that brings us to the other side of the coin: global digital citizenship. This is about us, our shared responsibility. Because let's be real, AI is not a neutral tool. It actively shapes who has knowledge and who has power. So, as a global community, we have to make sure it's being used in a way that's ethical and fair for absolutely everyone. So you can see how these two pieces fit together, right? Digital curation, that's your personal toolkit, the skill you need to navigate all this. And digital citizenship? That's the rule book for the whole game, the shared ethics we all agree to play by. One's about you being competent, the other is about us being conscientious. You absolutely need both to have real digital wisdom. Okay, great concepts, right? But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's get practical. We're going to take these ideas and drop them into a situation where the stakes are incredibly high, like life or death high. We're talking about nursing education. It's a fantastic example. I mean, these students are right there on the front lines. They're juggling overwhelming amounts of data, brand new technologies, and making really tough ethical calls every single day. For them, this stuff, this digital wisdom, it's not some nice to have, it's a fundamental part of their job. So what does this look like day to day for a nursing student? Well, it's pretty hands-on. Imagine they're in a simulation, and an AI is giving them feedback on how they talk to a patient. They have to curate that feedback to become more empathetic. Or they have to go out and find, curate the best, most reliable, and simplest resources for a patient to understand their own health. And here's the really important part. They have to look at the AI tools and ask the hard questions. Is this tool biased? Does it work for everyone, from every background? And when you see it like that, something amazing clicks into place. You realize that digital curation is basically a new form of clinical reasoning. Building a learning portfolio, that's like building a patient's case file. Spotting bias in a pamphlet, that's just good patient care. And pushing back on an AI's diagnosis, that's being a patient advocate. It's all connected. Now, this all sounds great, and it is, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Using AI as a partner, well, it's not a walk in the park. There are some hidden risks, some subtle dangers that we really need to get our heads around. This quote here from Unggerer is a huge warning sign. Curation can get shallow really fast if you're just collecting links, just grabbing info without actually digging in, questioning it, connecting the dots. Then you're not creating knowledge. You're just managing information. It's like hoarding a bunch of books you never ever read. It looks impressive, but it's totally useless. And then there's the bigger picture, the global risk that UNESCO points out. This is so important. AI systems learn from the data we feed them. And what does that data reflect? Our world, warts and all. All our biases are in there. So when an AI is trained mostly on data from one culture, it can, completely by accident, end up amplifying those biases and making existing inequalities even worse. So what we're left with is this constant balancing act. On one hand, you've got all this amazing, exciting innovation. On the other, you have to have this deep, deep commitment to ethics, to integrity.
We have to train ourselves to see technology for what it is. Incredibly powerful, yes, but also incomplete. It's a tool that always needs a critical human in the loop.
Okay, so with all those risks, how on earth do we actually build this digital wisdom? Well, the good news is we're not just stumbling around in the dark. There's a map. There's a clear way forward. And here it is, a framework with 3 basic but powerful principles. Number 1, reflection. It just means you have to know why you're doing what you're doing online. Number 2, transparency. When you get feedback from an AI, don't just take it. Look at it together with someone else. Figure out where it's smart, but also where it's, kind of dumb. And number 3, connection. Use this technology to actually connect with people from different backgrounds, on projects that build real empathy. And what's the point of all this? Well, it brings us right back to where we started. The whole goal here is to shift AI from being a crutch, that thinking substitute, and turn it into a catalyst for our own judgment, to make it a true thinking partner. Because when you think about it, being literate in today's world means so much more than just being able to read and write. True literacy is about having the guts to question what you see, the skill to connect with other people in a real way, and honestly, the heart to care about how all this tech is affecting us as human beings. So we'll leave you with that to think about. In this world that's being shaped more and more by algorithms every day, what's the one thing, the first step, that you are going to take to build up your own digital wisdom? Thanks so much for joining us.